We're grabbing another law out of the 617 laws that we find in the Bible. We're going to look at another one. Deuteronomy 22 and verse 8. When you build a new house, then you shall make a guardrail for your roof so that you do not bring blood upon your house if someone falls from it. Now, this is personal responsibility. Back then they had flat roofs. They would get up there in the cool of the day, and God says, okay, put a railing up there so that no one falls off the top of the roof and gets hurt. Now, you know, actually these laws are sort of built into our building codes. Now, I know we get upset at all the codes that you have to tolerate. You know, I built a garage and the building inspector came out with a car and he had these stickers that looked like bullet holes through his car. I don't know if you've ever seen them. You can stick them on your car and it looks like someone shot the car up. But I can see why. I mean, he gave me a hard time about everything that I did. But I am grateful for those building codes. You know, you ever met people that just sort of jury rig everything they do? You know, they got bare wires running across their trailer. You know, and the trailer is metal, I mean, and they got naked wires and they just rig up and throw stuff together. And they're not thinking about other people. They're not thinking about children coming along and touching that bare wire. And so if you really love your neighbor as yourself, you're going to think about them and you're going to protect them and you're going to follow the rules, the building codes, so that people don't get hurt. Yeah, it's part of loving your neighbor as yourself. You know, I mean, I've heard of children drinking gasoline from a pop bottle. Well, why was the gasoline in the pop bottle in the first place? And dying, you know. Think before you do something stupid is what the Bible is saying here. Leviticus 19 and verse 9. Let's take another look at another law here. These 617 laws that we find in the Bible. We're examining them and we're seeing, okay, how does this apply to us? Loving your neighbor, loving God is, you know. Okay, when you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not wholly reap the corners of the field, neither shall you gather the gleanings of thy harvest. And you shall not glean the vineyards, thy vineyards, neither shall you gather every grape of the vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the strangers. I am the Lord your God. Now notice this concerning the poor. Now it doesn't say, it says you leave them for the poor. You don't reap everything, you leave it for the poor. Now consider this, it doesn't say that you can it and pressure cook it and package it up and then take it to the poor and say, open your mouth now let me burp you after I feed you. No, it just says you leave it for the poor. They have to go out and harvest it. They have to go out and resell the gleanings and what you've left behind for the poor. They have to go out and do that for themselves. So what category does this fit into? Well, it fits into loving your neighbor as yourself. Love your fellow man, but don't become his caretaker. When you do for others instead of letting them do for themselves, they become dependent on you. They become lazy. Yes, lazy. All right, the dietary laws. Think about the dietary laws. What category does the dietary laws fit in? A list of clean and unclean meats. The scavengers, you're not supposed to be eating them. Well, the dietary laws fits into, since your body is the temple of God, and you're supposed to take care of the temple, it fits in, the dietary law fits into loving God. It also fits into loving your neighbor as yourself. Because, listen, you don't want your children sickly, do you? Don't you hurt when you see sick people who are sick? I know I do. I don't want my neighbor to be sick. So these dietary laws, not only do they fit into loving God, but they also fit into loving your neighbor as yourself, because you don't want your neighbor, you don't want your own children to be sickly. And the dietary laws are all about personal health.